I want to say thank you for those of you that are new. If you like what you see here, you can like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell, all kinds of things to do. And I really appreciate that. So today, we're going to be making meatballs. Now this meatball recipe is a family recipe. I want to make that clear. My mother-in-law years ago taught me how to make it. And then her older brother, Uncle Dave, taught me how to make it. So I've combined basically both of theirs. I might have tweaked it a little bit myself, but this is from my husband's side of the family. And that's what we're going to make today. So I'm going to show you all the ingredients we're going to use. So what I've done is dumped the ragu sauce in the crock pot. And this is a 4.1 pound jar. So I wanted to show you that. So that's how much sauce we're going to use. And I added in the tablespoon of the paste. And I also added in about 2 teaspoons, 2.5 of Italian seasoning. And that's just been sitting over there on high. So I showed you earlier on our bowl, we had the frozen egg cubes. They've unthawed. We have about 3.5 pounds of hamburger. We're going to add a good amount of garlic paste. I've washed my hands, by the way. So we're going to use probably a good teaspoon. And we're using this because I'm running low on garlic powder. I need to go get some. So this is just garlic paste. A little expensive to buy, but this is the last amount of it. We're going to add in, at least a teaspoon, 1.5 teaspoons of salt. Same, we're going to add in about a teaspoon, 1.5 teaspoons of pepper. We're going to take about a teaspoon, 1.5 teaspoons of onion powder. We're going to add in about 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. We're going to crack 1 egg. And if you remember, my secret ingredient is crackers. A couple kinds of crackers. Now you can use breadcrumbs, use any cracker flavoring that you like. Mine is a vegetable-based one and a cheese-based one. So, now this you never know. I got a baggie here. I crush them up so they're pretty tiny. So, I don't know exactly how much. I'm going to pour some in. Probably about half the bag. And I'm going to mix. And there's no way around this. You gotta use your hands. I see some people putting on gloves. If that's what you feel comfortable doing, do it. My hands are clean. And the best tool in the kitchen is your hands. And you can feel the right consistency that you want. So we're just mixing this together to see if we're going to add more of the cracker mixture. Alright, before I add any more, I'm going to add a little bit of this pizza cheese. I'm going to use the rest of it if I'm touching it with my hands. It's about half a cup. And by the looks of it, I'm going to use some more of this. So now we got maybe 3/4 a cup. And while I'm looking at this, I'm going to add a little bit more of the Italian seasoning, another teaspoonful. 2 frying pans on the, I do have a little bit of garlic powder I'm going to use. Probably just the rest of that. About a teaspoon. It's mixed really, really good. You want all the flavorings to be incorporated. Okay, so I have 2 frying pans on the stove. They both got a good amount, two teaspoons about of olive oil, and I sprinkled some of the Italian season so the olive oil is going to be infused because I'm going to fry these off on all sides. You can put them in the oven. Some people do that. One of my sister-in-laws used to just make the meatballs and put it right in the sauce and let it cook all day. My husband likes that little crunch to them, so we fry them, and when they're all browned on all sides, we put them in the sauce. We let them sit, cook in the sauce, and 2, 4, 6 hours, the longer the better. It's usually what time today, it'll probably only be like 2 hours because I'm starting so late. But this amount, I want to talk about this amount of meat that I'm using, because now it's just me and my husband here. The kids are all grown. But this will make, I don't even know, 50, 60 meatballs. I don't make them very big. I'm going to use a melon baller. It's about the size. I'll show you when I do it. But then we do have them for meatball subs. My husband likes to just grab some meatballs, heat them up in the microwave, and just have meatballs with nothing with it. When I make it the first day, this day, we'll have it with spaghetti. You can have it with any kind of pasta you like. We use the spaghetti. And I'm able to share. Usually I'll send my father-in-law and my sister-in-law over some, my neighbor some. And if the children, which they both live, one lives 45 minutes away and one lives a half an hour away, if they happen to stop by during the week or the weekend and there's some, then they go home with some. So they spread out pretty good, so it's no big deal. And even if I wasn't sharing them or doing whatever, I could break them up and put them inside of the freezer and have them another time. I will honestly say in 30-something years of making these, I've never been able to freeze any of them because they just go. Everybody wants some when I make them. Okay, before I forget to tell you about it, the tomato paste. Now, I told you a tablespoon in this spaghetti sauce, but then I got 4 other tablespoons that I'm just gonna plop in the freezer. When they're frozen, I'm gonna plop in a bag, so next time I can just plop out a cube. It's done. I don't have to worry about it. So that's 1 little can, 5 uses. Pretty good. So I have my melon baller out. I have a cup of water, so once it starts getting sticky, I just stick that in there and help release it. So we're just gonna get a scoop, and I don't do anything fancy. Just plop them in. So it's about that much in there. And then I'm gonna continue to, I should have showed you first. I don't know if you can see the spices in here. Ooh. But I got the Italian season, so it's been infusion into the oil. And once we get them browned on all sides, I use a slotted spoon so we're not getting grease all in our spaghetti sauce. So I'm just gonna keep on making meatballs. And like I said, I got 2 pans out here. I do 2 pans at a time. And we will continue to fill up the pan. And I just take a spoon and roll them over once they start getting brown on one side. And once it starts browning, I got some more made. I'll show you going on here? Oh, one thing I also didn't do, I'm pretty confident, I guess, when I'm making these. But usually I do take a little tiny one. I just flatten it down, put it in the middle of the pan and cook it because, again, you can't add no seasonings. It is what it is. But I've made these so many times, I'm pretty confident that I'm not going to have to add anything. Hopefully, I don't regret saying those words. But I am going to do my little sampler one here and see how it tastes. So, I will be back when we got these all made into meatballs and browning up in the pan. Alright, so I've done about half of the bowl, and I've got 50 meatballs already, so I guess I can't count very good. So it's probably going to make more than 80, 90, something like that, meatballs. And, you know, they shrink up, so this is the size about. And I've talked about before, it's your own personal preference. I mean, you can make as big or as small meatballs as you want. I like to take the time for my food to be smaller, I guess. So when I take a bite of my spaghetti, I take a bite of meatballs. So I get everything in one bite. And these ones work out good for the meatball subs, I think. You know, if you don't want them to slide out of your sub, just mash them down with the fork when you're heating them up, or spoon, whatever. And then add your cheese, put it in the oven, toaster oven, and you've got a nice meatball sub. They're delicious. So we're just going to keep on cooking these. See, as they start getting cooked, there'll be more room in the pan, so then I'll start adding some more. Like I said, we're just looking to brown them on all sides. And then we'll take, I have to wait and get that out. I'll show you when I do it. A slotted spoon to be able to put it inside of the sauce. Okay, so here's my sauce in the crock pot. And like I said before, usual suspects, onion, garlic, and I added Italian seasoning today with a little mix. Let the spoon rest. So then I got this pan going, and this pan going. So these ones over here will be taken out. So I got my slotted spoon. I'm just going to let the grease kind of hang out. And then right into the crock pot. And then we're just going to keep doing that. We still got about a quarter of our meat mixture. We're just going to keep making meatballs. And then when I get to them all done, and they've been in there an hour or two, I'll put on my water for pasta. And then I will show you guys the finished spaghetti and meatballs. Okay, we've browned all our meatballs. They're now in the crock pot. Now we'll give it a little toss. Let everybody be covered in the sauce. I have my crock pot on high because I started so late in the day. And we're going to want to eat these pretty soon. As long as they're pretty much cooked from being in the frying pan. As long as they have at least an hour, they're good to go. So in about an hour, I'll throw on the water, and then I'll show you our finished product. Okay, here is our spaghetti and meatballs. I'm not a big sauce person, so I just put a little bit of sauce, spaghetti and butter. And then I bake some fresh bread, and I put a piece of mozzarella on top of it. I'm going to put a small sliver of mozzarella on top of my meatballs here. I'm out of Parmesan cheese, so that's why we ended up with that. But here we go. This is what's for supper.